Now that is what I call an ending. Hey, and hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to watch this video right here today on the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. I'm your co-host, Mick Rock Wilson, and last night was WWE Monday Night Raw. And I thought this show overall was actually pretty good. It was an enjoyable Raw. It wasn't an outstanding Raw, but it was a well above average show. And with that said, there's always issues when it comes to every single episode of Raw. Almost. But I thought this one, there were a lot of things that I did not like, but there's also things that I really did like about this show. And in particular, the way this episode ended. And I will get to that later on this review. The show kicked off last night with a tag team match. It was the Wyatt family versus the Usos. And I'm wondering, okay, where is this going? When it comes to starting the show, I thought, the way the show ended, the way the show started was pretty good. And the way Raw ended was absolutely incredible. I like how this episode of Raw started off the way it ended, with the same story, with the same people involved. And that's what I like about a show like this, because it's one of those Raws where it separates itself. It feels like a standout Raw instead of just another episode. And with that said, like I said before, the way this show started and the way it ended was great. It had a good flow overall. It was the Wyatt family versus the Usos, and what happened was that the Usos won by disqualification when Luke Harper and Eric Rowan got involved, and thus resulting into the main event match being inside a steel cage. And like I said, the way the show ended, absolutely incredible. I love to get to it right now, but as much as I like to, I will get to other things first, talk about them, and then talk about the main event of Monday Night Raw. Later on, after that, we saw a match between Damien and Sandow versus John Cena, and I thought overall, this match was okay. It was, kind of slow getting going. There were some issues, there were some problems throughout the first few minutes of the match. But once the match got going, it got going pretty good. And the last few minutes were all out incredible. So it was like a hit and miss situation where the match didn't start off quite well, but it ended pretty good. And, it was one of those, steady climbs. It was like this, the kind of thing. And there were some moments in that match were great. John Cena applying those moves that we've seen before that he's starting to use, like the tornado DDT, like the neck breaker he's been using. And I like what Damien Sandow does around in the middle of that match, where he applies this sharpshooter-like maneuver with his knee to John Cena's back. Moves like that work well when we don't usually see them very often. And when his superstar like Damien Sandow applies these moves, you know what? It's something that is something cool, new and fresh. And, it's just one of those things. It's one of those situations. So overall, this match was an average match at best. And what happened was that, of course, John Cena goes over. I saw this 100 miles, 1,000, 1,000,000 miles away. And it was just one of those predictable matches. Even though it was a good, decent match, it was very predictable. basically what this was Damien Sandow being used as a stepping stone for John Cena to gain momentum. Here's the thing. John Cena does not need momentum. If he would have lost that match, he would still look good going into Royal Rumble. It really wouldn't hurt him, I think, in my opinion. So with that being said, he's John Cena. That's why. And with all that being said, like I said, overall decent match. Moving on to the Big Show versus Jack Swagger, and this is where we get into some booking issues. Booking Jack Swagger, one half of a great tag team, and you put him in there with the world's largest athlete, someone who has a match upcoming at a pay-per-view, and you use one half of a good tag team to use as a stepping stone for the other guy to get momentum. What in the world are you absolutely thinking WWE booking this match? I would have rather see Big Show in a 3-on-1 handicap match with 3MB where he just cleans house, knocks out everyone left, right, and center and goes over, and he looks good going into the Royal Rumble. I would have rather seen that than Jack Swagger being squashed to the Big Show, because that's basically what that was. Why on earth would you put Jack Swagger in the ring with an individual instead of a tag team? That makes no sense at all. Have them build up a storyline between them and Cody Rhodes and Goldust for the tag team titles. It's not that hard. The Real Americans look great. Swagger's a great wrestler. So is Antonio Cesaro. They have a great manager. They have great tag team maneuvers. What? Really? And WWE put Swagger in a match with the Big Show. WWE logic? Fail. And with that being said, it was Big Show going over in this match. He has, at least, they are making Big Show look like a giant instead of being thrown into a tag team with Rey Mysterio or wearing a diaper on the New Year's Eve baby kind of thing, or being the whiny Big Show that we harp on all the time. At least they're doing something right with the Big Show, but at the expense of a good tag team? No. Moving on. The Shield. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose versus CM Punk and the New Age Outlaws. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I thought, throughout that match, what? It was actually pretty good. This was a good match. The New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, Jesse James, look great. It's kind of like, a Goldust situation, where he comes back, he looks great, better than ever. So does the New Age Outlaws, and I think they proved that last night. And there was a moment in that match where I was just laughing my head off. At first, I thought it was a random heel turn, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. What this was about was Triple H sticking it to CM Punk. I wouldn't be surprised at the Royal Rumble when CM Punk is, cleaning house or eliminating a couple of people. Out comes Triple H or Shawn Michaels or whatever, and throws CM Punk out the ring and costs Punk the Royal Rumble match to build up this possible match between Punk and either Triple H or Shawn Michaels. That would be great. That'd be a good build-up story. And I like that they're using the New Age Outlaws to be involved in this as well, because they are associated with Triple H. So with that being said, I like how, with CM Punk, he was going to take one or the other guys, and then they just drop. And my reaction was, it made sense. It doesn't feel like a random heel turn. What this is Triple H using or abusing his authority, however you want to see it when it comes to the storytelling aspect, into sticking it to CM Punk. It's good storytelling. And we'll see what happens later on within the weeks and months to come when it comes to building a match between either Punk or Triple H or Punk or Shawn Michaels. Either one will be great, I think, in my opinion. Also, we saw AJ Lee and Tamina take on the Funkadactyls, Cameron and Naomi. And even though this match was very, very short, it was just one of those squash matches. But here's the thing. They actually made the most out of this match. I like that AJ Lee has finally been on Raw. We never saw her in the past couple of weeks. And without the Divas champion, you know what? The show tends to not to be as good as it should. And you can also make the argument that you can't have too much of a good thing. So with that being said, I like that AJ Lee is finally back on Raw with Tamina. They're in a tag team match. What happened was that AJ Lee and Tamina went over in this match. And even though, like I said, it felt like a filler, a squash match. It was very short, but they made the most out of it. What happened was that AJ Lee got the pin, and Naomi got the last word. And it looks like they're going to build up this match between Naomi and AJ Lee for the Divas Championship. I'm all for it. Because, really, if you think about it, Naomi is one of those divas where she would make me believe that she looks credible as a #1 contender for the Divas Championship. Very few divas on the show right now have that aspect to them. Divas like Natalya, Brie Bella has been improving as well, and Naomi as well is one of those divas that would make me feel like they are credible enough to become a #1 contender for the Divas Championship. So at least when it comes to the booking situations, they're doing something right with the Divas division, even though they need some of the divas on NXT to come on the show and really regenerate the Divas division. Moving on. We saw Orton backstage. He's frustrated, right? Of course, because the Authority forced him into a championship match at the Royal Rumble. I mean, there's nothing really new there. I mean, a happy Randy Orton would not be good television. And frustrated Randy Orton is good television, and he is much better as a heel than he is a babyface anyway. No question about it. And so with that said, the Authority is not around. They're nowhere in sight. He runs into Kane and he says that I need something. Give me what I want. I want out of this match. So basically, this was Kane telling Randy Orton, you can take your frustrations out on Kofi Kingston. We get to the match. Now, there were some issues I have involved with the Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton match, but there was also some positives. I like how in that match Randy Orton was showing his frustration. He's still good at selling his emotions in the ring. And with that being said, this happened in the beginning, throughout the match. And there was a moment where he said, kick out of that before he goes to pin his opponent. So he's really selling his emotions. And I like how it cost him the match. That I did like. Because it makes sense. You're frustrated. You're wanting to get this match over with. You're frustrated because you've been forced into a championship match. And then it costs you the match. It makes sense, right? But see, here's the thing. They use Kofi Kingston. I mean, if they would have used someone like Justin Gabriel or anyone else, or for that matter, I would have rather seen that instead of Kofi Kingston getting the win and probably going nowhere at all. What this feels like is that this was all part of this storyline between John Cena and Randy Orton. Kofi Kingston's win over Randy Orton really feels secondary to the story between John Cena and Randy Orton. And of course, they use John Cena's father. He's in the audience. And here I'm thinking, WWE, come on. Put some effort to it and write new material instead of putting on the same thing time and time again. When it comes to this Randy Orton and Cena saga, for the love of God, write new material, please. What happened was that Randy Orton, after the match, got a few leaks in on John Cena's father. Of course, John Cena comes out and saves the day, tends to his father, stares down Randy Orton, and I'm ashamed of the WWE for not doing something new. Instead, they do the same old stuff we keep seeing. It's recycled. Oh, absolutely horrible. And like I said, I would have rather seen someone else being used as the stepping stone for Randy Orton, like Justin Gabriel or Yoshitatsu or anyone for that matter. And of course, the audience was bored as heck throughout that match. We heard the Randy Savage chants, we heard the Daniel Bryan chants. So I thought this match between Kofi and Randy Orton really dragged out. It was boring. You can argue it's the slow process of a match, but come on, that match just went on for too long, I think, and I was just waiting for the match to end because it was just painful to watch to me. As a wrestling fan, watching that, just end it. And when Kofi won, I was like, what? And I'm like, okay, they're really gonna go nowhere. And it won't surprise me if they don't. I mean, good God, WWE, what are you doing? But other than that, I'm just going to move on. Kofi Kingston and Goldust team up against Curtis Axel and Ryback. Well, whoop-de-doo. That should be Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro involved in that match. And I really don't care about Curtis Axel or Ryback at this point in time in their careers as superstars. For the love of God, just separate them. Build up Ryback into a singles competitor. Win some matches. Build up a match with Goldberg, for the love of God, at WrestleMania. Do something with this guy instead of making him look like the weak link every single week. And the same thing goes with Curtis Axel. What in the world are you doing, WWE? Squashing this guy week after week after week, and I can't stress that enough. I could go on saying week after week after week ever since he lost, or even when he was the Intercontinental Championship. Even when he debuted. I mean, come on. Why? Seriously, what are you doing, WWE, with Curtis Axel? The guy tries too hard, for one. He's not the greatest talker. He exaggerates his words. He's a very hard-spoken guy. Even though he's okay wrestler, I mean, come on, just do something with this guy. Make him more believable, for Lord's sake. Just, it's not that hard. Seriously. Moving on. Rey Mysterio going one-on-one with Alberto Del Rio, and all I have to say is thank God it's not Alberto Del Rio versus Sin Cara, or Hunico, or whoever you want to call him. That one's for you, Clint. But anyway, like I said before, a lot of these guys at WWE is just squashing, and Alberto Del Rio is one of those guys. Alberto Del Rio has lost his edge. What happened to Ricardo Rodriguez? Put him back with Ricardo. be that heel that he once was when he debuted, instead of being the guy that no one cares. I mean, what in the world is WWE doing with this guy? I can't stress that enough of how the WWE books these superstars and how they make them look credible, make them look weak, whatever you want to say. I'm just at a loss, really. And really all this is that they're using Alberto Del Rio being the guy that they're going to use for Batista to eliminate in the Royal Rumble when they meet, and they'll probably have a confrontation next week when Batista returns. I like that Batista's returning, but I don't know about him winning the Royal Rumble. But based on the ending of Raw, but we'll wait and see what happens, I guess. Like I said, this match, Rey Mysterio, Alberto Del Rio, squash match. Let's move on. Backstage, we saw Kane telling Punk that he will be in the Royal Rumble match. And something tells me that, like I said, we're going to see something happen with CM Punk in the Royal Rumble match. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, or maybe Kane will make an appearance in the Royal Rumble match and eliminate CM Punk. Who knows what may happen at the Royal Rumble? We will know in a couple of weeks' time. And now we get to the main event, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to mark out. What happened was that the steel cage match happened. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt versus the Usos. And Kane coming out with the chain to make sure no one interferes. I like it. I like how Luke Harper and Eric Rowan were when they were outside of the steel cage, making sure that the Usos do not win, even though they won. I thought that was the great move on the part of WWE, how they used Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. And what I like is that, they're giving the push to the Usos as well. I mean, you might as well throw them into the Tag Team Championship mix. Getting this push that they're getting right now, I like it. They started off Raw, they ended Raw along with the Wyatt family, and I think if that does not make them #1 contenders, I don't know what will. Maybe a non-title match against Cody Rhodes and Goldust, sure. Or even putting in them with the Real Americans, sure. But having them start off and end off Raw alone, I think solidifies them as a credible tag team to being put in the tag team title picture. And what happened was that at the end, that we saw Daniel Bryan, right? He has this moment. They exchange words, Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. Bray Wyatt goes for the sister Abigail. Daniel Bryan gets out of it. And then Ray bows to Bryan. Words exchange. You hear Bray Wyatt saying, "You're a coward, Daniel Bryan." And then, he runs to attack Bryan, and then they just go at it. Daniel Bryan takes out Bray Wyatt and has this big moment with the audience. Like I said, mark out moment. And see, here's the thing. That was meant to happen. I don't know what WWE was thinking when they put Daniel Bryan to join the Wyatt family. That was the right move. I think they made sure they had to end it quickly, and they did. I'm happy that the WWE ended the Daniel Wyatt saga. I'm happy for that, because that was the wrong move for Daniel Bryan to join them, and they were teasing it way too quickly. And I'm not surprised that they didn't wait to the Royal Rumble to have Daniel Bryan snap out of it and eliminate the Wyatt family members and win. So I'm very happy, like I said, that they made Daniel Bryan have his moment closing off Raw. And I got goosebumps when he was doing the yes, yes, yes as it went slower to faster. The audience was in sync with Daniel Bryan with the yes chants, and I just got goosebumps at that moment. And then running high knee to Bray Wyatt, climbs up the steel cage and does his thing again. Absolutely mark out moment. I was from ear to ear smiling. Absolutely, no question. It was one of those memorable endings to Monday Night Raw, I think, in my opinion. And really, after watching that, I see no reason for Daniel Bryan to not win the Royal Rumble match. And I think, in my opinion, if Batista comes back and is in the Royal Rumble match, please, for the love of God, do not let Batista win the Royal Rumble match. I'm glad that he is coming back, but after watching that ending, you have to give it to Daniel Bryan. For the love of God, WWE, if you do not let Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble, there's definitely something wrong with you. And I think when that happens, I hope he does face Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. John Cena does not need the belt at all. And I will do a prediction video next week, so watch out for that. You can also follow MRB Wrestling Reviews on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and like us on Facebook. And the question is, what did you think of last night's WWE Monday Night Raw? And on top of that, what did you think of the ending? Comment below and let me know. And to all you MRBers watching this review of WWE Monday Night Raw, get plenty of rest. And always do your best.